Welcome to Cut the Crop, keeping you in the know about everything you grow. Researchers, growers and other interesting folk delivering insights and information on topics ranging from agronomy to profitability. Brought to you by the Foundation for Arable Research.
Hello and welcome. This is Alison Stewart, the CEO of FAR, and I'm your host for the Cut the Crop series. Now, today we're going to be talking about ProductionWise, and in particular, an exciting new development. And we've got Melanie Bates from FAR, who's the ProductionWise Manager, with us on the phone. Hello, Melanie.
Hello, Alison.
Yes.
Good to be with you today.
Great. Now, before we actually talk about the new development, it's probably a good idea just to give some of our listeners a little bit of a background on ProductionWise, because although it's been around for a while and we do have about 800 or 900 users of the ProductionWise platform, it's probably good to just let those people who don't know much about it, a little bit of a background of what it is and what the growers are using it for.
Right. ProductionWise is basically a farm management tool that does crop recording is the basis of it. So when a farmer grows his crop, he can record everything he does for that, spraying his crop, fertilizing, harvesting. And the background of it has all the inputs in there and default prices. So it builds up all the recording for the year to a gross margin stage. That was the interest with FAR for the development, was to be able to benchmark growers against each other in regions, and they could compare themselves to the average. So the crop recording links with an advisor site as well, still within ProductionWise. So advisors can go on farm and do their recommendations, send it to the grower, and it goes into his diary page. They can order all the products that are required, and got a heap of reporting in there, ticks the boxes for traceability, and it also has a storage component. So you can store your grain and seed sort of in a virtual storage and keep all the records that are associated with that for traceability. So it's basically a farm management tool. It works in the cloud, so you don't need to upload a program, and it also works on a mobile app. And that's the key, is the mobile app, so that farmers can record all this data on the go, because they're not going to want to come home at night and sit down and start plugging all this information in.
And of course, the important thing is that it's free to FAR levy payers.
Absolutely. Yep, it's freely available to our FAR levy payers and to the advisors, because the advisors are encouraging their clients to use it. And the more people we get on board, the better quality the benchmarking will be for FAR to return that back to the growers.
And so it's got this intrinsic value, but that value is now becoming increasingly higher value because of the fact that we can now start streamlining environmental reporting with all of these environmental compliance requirements coming in. And so this latest development is really going to be a big benefit to the growers. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what this new development is?
Okay, so the basis of nutrient budgeting is done through a thing called OverseerFM. It's a software that Overseer runs. And the biggest consumer of money and time for the farmer to do these nutrient budgets is collating information. And then it's things like, they need the drilling, the fertilizer, harvest dates and yields. And using ProductionWise and using this OverseerFM integration page, it extracts that ProductionWise data from what the farmer's already recorded and puts it into a file, and that gets imported directly into the OverseerFM platform. So this then creates their year-end analysis very easily. This should cut the consultant's time of data collection we've estimated up to about 50%. So we're hoping that actually proves itself.
So how did this all come about? Was this something that the growers approached FAR to develop, or was it something that the ProductionWise technical group had identified? Tell us a little bit about how it all came about and what was required to make this happen.
Well, we work with a working group that consists of farmers, the board members, industry and agronomists, and we meet a couple of times a year and sort of discuss how ProductionWise is going, what development we've heard through farmers and through training sessions that we run every winter. And we discuss it, and that's when we decide whether we've got funding to sort of do these things. And it was at one of these meetings in 2017, the group decided it would be really great to see if we could do an overseer report. So that's how it started, was actually which report do we pull off ProductionWise to give to consultants to help draw up a nutrient budget, because they're extensive reports. So we started off building a very, very simple Excel report that is still there actually in ProductionWise, and it pulls it in 4 parts. So it collates your rotation, your grazing, any irrigation and soil information, and then your rotation. And those are the key things. So it needs to know sort of what crop you've grown, whether it's barley, what the yield was, the cultivation practice, residue management, and all the fertilizer. So that's how it started in 2017. And then we've been thinking last year, could we make a seamless integration? So that started discussions in January 2017 with the Overseer team and the technical team headed by Chris Day for Florasat. And discussions went through the year, how we were going to do it. We needed sort of a breakdown of the JSON file, because that's the file that the information goes into. And we actually started the development just before Christmas and finished it sort of about a month ago. So basically the technical team and the technical team at Overseer sort of worked out how information was going to be in what format. And then, yes, we put it live a week ago. So it's very exciting.
So if you're a grower and you've signed up to ProductionWise, what do you have to do? I mean, is it a simple just pressing a button and it all happens? Or is there a process that you have to go through to be able to create this integration?
Well, firstly, you have to register on ProductionWise, which is www.productionwise.co.nz. And then you either can import a KML file with your map of your farm, or you can build up your farm. And then you start recording. So you basically have to have records in ProductionWise for cultivation, sowing, fertilizer. Everything that you need for your nutrient budget actually has to be recorded, because it's not doing anything without somebody doing it. It's only as good as the information that you put in. And then once you've built up your year, or 2 years, or however many years you're trying to export into the OverseerFM platform, it will take it through. So you basically can't just sign up and go, oh yes, press, and it works. You have to actually put very, very clear and very good data into it.
Okay, so one of the things, I mean, you mentioned Florasat. It's probably a good idea just for the readers that, haven't heard of Florasat, explain exactly who Florasat is and why FAR is working with them.
Florasat actually own ProductionWise, and FAR pay a hosting fee with the levy money, some of the levy money, to Florasat for the facility for ProductionWise. So ProductionWise is a subgroup of Florasat in effect, and it has its own technical team. They run a version in Australia called ProductionWise.au.com or something like that. And Florasat is a research and technical company in their own right in Australia. So they're doing a lot of work with aerial imagery, looking at plant health and nutrients with the plant growth. And they're also looking at radar work now and aerial. So they specialise in that high-tech research. So they're quite well fitted to be running ProductionWise for us.
So you mentioned that, sort of this is an exciting development for us. Are there any other platforms like, monitoring platforms that have been able to integrate into the Overseer system, or is this the first off the ranks?
No, we're the first, which is even more exciting so far because we have managed to do this integration, and it's very exciting, and I'm hoping that it will help all the growers who sort of their dread is to do nutrient budgets and collate all the data. So if they just do basic recording of the necessary amount, it should help them with their consultants at the end of the year when they're trying to do the nutrient budgets for either irrigation schemes or to apply the consents, because the nutrient budget goes with the farm environment plan. So it's something they are going to do anyway if they're not already doing it. So if you're going to do it, why not do it properly? Put every little bit in there, and then it will save time and save you money.
Well, yeah, talking about the money, I mean, just from talking to some of the growers, I mean, they're talking about spending, between $5,000 and $10,000 on getting consultants to do their Overseer budget. So presumably, if we've managed to create this seamless integration, that is going to make it much easier and quicker for the consultants, and it's going to save the growers, probably half of that normal consulting fee.
Yeah, we're hoping so. Yeah, we've estimated it could cut at least 50% of the consultant's time. And we actually used consultants in Ashburton, Mark Evers from Farlam, who actually helped us test the idea of this integration. So Mark's been great because he worked with Chris, and he also trialled it with some of his farmers' real data to see if it would actually work, because we needed to have somebody that was actually out in, running a consultancy, doing that every day with a farmer, because they know exactly what they're asking, and all the little tweaks. So we needed somebody that was actually right in there. So Mark gave it a good testing, and we've also had a couple of the other fertilizer consultants having a look at it while we were doing the development. And because they're all actually at the moment starting to do the nutrient budget for the irrigation scheme. So it's great to be working with these consultants and agronomists, because at the end of the day, we're all actually trying to help the farmer in different ways. But we must be very careful that we're not duplicating data collection, because that basically is where a lot of the costs are. And this is one way where we're trying to, with the data that's already collected, save that cost for the farmer.
So, I mean, it's a great development. What else have you got on your list, that you've identified that can improve the functionality of Overseer? Oh, sorry, not Overseer. ProductionWise.
Well, we're still looking to do extra bits of development that will help with Overseer. So you're right there, actually, because in the background, we've got all the input lists of all the sprays, obviously, and the fertilizers. But we're going to add to all the fertilizer NPK, NS, and MAG as a sort of the percentages, which aren't currently in there, because they are required to go to Overseer. So that will again help the data going across. We are also looking to do some integration with some of the machinery people like John Deere. We're looking at if we can link with Trimble or Ag Leader or those sort of things like TrackMap, who are doing work like fertilizer spreading or spraying and collecting the data automatically onto these machines. So it's these precision machines, all collecting in a file format. Again, it's slightly different, but we're looking to see if, again, we can do it the other way around from these machines, bring it into ProductionWise. I mean, that's something we're working on for this year. Another thing we're looking at sort of into next year is the possibility of doing a carbon footprint calculator, because that's something, again, that the farmers will have to have some knowledge of. And again, it's, a thing that farmers will be worried about. But if you're doing your records in the background, if we can do some calculations that help you tick a few boxes and, help you to keep farming, then that's where we'll head to. So those are a couple of things that are on the pipeline. Again, as we go during the year, when we do our training sessions in the winter, we usually pick up other little features that farmers will need us to add on. So there's always something around the corner, but we've done some very exciting things with some of the reporting to help herbicide resistance. We built a little report that pulls together, looking back over 5 years, all the chemical groups that you've used. And it's sort of keeping farmers on track with what they've been using for resistance, and to sort of make them mindful of what they could be watching for going forward. Because in certain areas of Canterbury, they found there are some herbicide resistance, and it just basically needs to be monitored.
And monitoring seems to be, the flavour of probably the next decade. In order for growers to be able to meet a lot of these compliance requirements, they're going to have to get out there, and they're going to have to monitor things, and they're going to have to record things, and they're going to have to then be able to utilise that data in an efficient way. And so, ProductionWise hopefully is going to provide many arable growers with a nice platform whereby they can do, a lot of that monitoring and recording and reporting all in a bit of a one-stop shop. So thank you very much, Melanie, for letting us know. That's an exciting new development. And thank you, listeners, and have a great day on the farm.
Thanks for tuning in to Cut the Crop, presented to you by FAR. If you'd like to know more about any of the topics discussed or have any suggestions for future topics, go to www.cutthecrop.co.nz.